Hi, mathematicians. We are writing equations from tables. At the end of this lesson, you will be able to write the equation of an absolute value function from a table of values. Recall from the last unit that the general form that we have for absolute value functions is y equals a times the absolute value of x minus h plus k, noting that the a value is the direction and the rate of change. So this is related to the rate of change and also the direction. And HK is our vertex. So looking at our graph, we can see that our vertex is right here. That's that turning point, and it is at -1, +4. So I already have some of my equation. I'm going to have x, and then instead of it's minus a -1, which is the same thing as +1, remember that's always going to be the opposite sign. And then plus k is the y spot of the vertex, so +4, and that sign stays the same. Remember, the reason that the x is negative or opposite is because of that subtraction in the general form. And now we have to look at what our a value is. So you're going to count rise over run. That's just like your slope here. And you can see that I'm going down 2 and over 3. That means my a value for this is going to be -2/3, or -2/3. So how can we transfer our knowledge of writing equations from a graph like we did in the last unit to writing equations from a table? And the process is pretty similar. Remember from unit 1 that the first thing we want to do is do the change in x and the change in y. So please do that now, because that's going to help us find our rate of change. So we can see from our table that our rate of change, our change in y, our change in x's are all increasing by 3. Remember to look at that number line. Each of these numbers is going to the right on the number line. That's why it's increasing. For our change in y, we see our change, which is typical of absolute value. We are increasing by 2, and then we are decreasing by 2. So our rate of change here, which is the change in y over the change in x, is 2/3. And we can see that the next thing is to find our turning point. Remember that another word for turning point is vertex. And right between where our change goes from increasing to decreasing is going to be our vertex. So circle that in your table. The other way to check that is you see that there are buddy points for those other points, and the turning point does not have a partner. So we'll write that in this spot. And we're going to use, we're going to first look at, is our opening up or down? And how we look at that is like, think of a quick sketch. So if our graph is increasing at first and then decreasing, which I see right here, this is increasing, then decreasing. My, this part over here is increasing, this part is decreasing. This tells me that my A is negative. Because it's opening down. And so I know that I want to think of this rate of change over here as negative, even though it's both plus and minus in our table. And now we're going to use that information to write our equation. So y equals, our a value is -2/3 because I'm opening down. X minus my x value, remember that's x minus -1 or x plus 1. It's always the opposite sign. And then plus k, which would be +4, if you want to think of that as hk right there. And just remember that when x is negative in my vertex, it's going to be plus in my equation. But for the y value, it is going to be the same sign. So this is positive, this is positive. And a quick summary here. We just said this. If your rate of change increases and then decreases, so it's going up and then it's going down, that's how you know that your absolute value graph is going a down V. And if your rate of change decreases, so that's going down first and then going up, then it's going to be a V opening up like we have there. So find the rate of change in your tables. Again, you're just doing the change in X and the change in Y like we've always done. Find your turning point, which your turning point is your vertex. So this is your A value, this is your HK. And then do a quick sketch. So is your graph going up or down? You don't have to use a scale. You're just literally thinking about what's happening. You don't have to orient it on a coordinate plane or anything. You're literally thinking, is it opening up or down? And then write your equation using the form y equals a times the absolute value of x minus h plus k.